conditions yet to unfold before splashdown just over an hour.
Hello everyone, we are paying attention to the Artemis II live stream here, and I'm going to be flying through California while they're coming back.
The final major maneuver of the flight, that being the return trajectory correction 3 burn. It was
So,
an 8-second burn.
let me just get in there, even though I'm visually in there.
Over the Pacific Ocean a short time from now. That will be the point of entry interface where the crew will reach the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000.
That's our path. I don't think I'll get through it by the time they get back, but we'll see.
Just after 4 p.m. Central Time, suited up in those launch and entry suits, conducted leak checks, and now are in the final stages of their entry checklist.
Let's get all in. That's not what happened. Maybe I need to use their pad.
Houston copies.
The next major milestone on the route home.
Fully zipped, and they're working on EBS and then seating up.
We copy. Thanks for the status.
Okay.
Jackie Mahaffey talking to Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity. The spacecraft now about 12,000 nautical miles from the Earth's surface. The next major milestone on tap for the crew will be the handover of communications from the Deep Space Network to the tracking and data
Oh, it's a
relay
little
satellite
bit
system.
deflected, isn't
The
it?
Deep Space Network came into play after the translunar injection burn back on April 2nd that propelled Integrity toward its lunar flyby. We'll be back on the TDRS network here in about 41 minutes.
Well, I put the fuel in.
The next activity will be the pyrotechnic separation of the crew module from the European service module. That is scheduled.
I forget how this is supposed to go anyway.
Time, followed 4 minutes later by one final critical maneuver. That will be a 19-second burn of
Seems like
Integrity's thrusters.
we got a lot of water in there.
Raise burn. Now what that does is it basically acts. If you were sitting in a reclining chair, you'd basically tilt yourself back. It raises the aft end of Integrity ever so slightly, and that is the final opportunity for us to fine-tune the angle of attack of Integrity through the area of
Is blue water?
Entry interface that will come a bit later on, about an hour and 18 minutes from now. So after the raise burn, we will be in the final orientation that will minimize any peak heating on the heat shield of Integrity, and prior to the time the crew enters the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. Entry interface.
Well, I shouldn't get anything now, right? Yeah, there's no fuel in. Okay, now let me fuel it up. Surely you can't have any problems now. Well, I guess that's how it's supposed to be. All right.
Just 24 seconds after entering the Earth's atmosphere, we will experience a communications blackout expected to last 6 minutes in duration. This is planned, and it is caused by the interaction of the velocity of Integrity with the friction of Earth's atmosphere. There will be a buildup of plasma around the vehicle. And
trying to drag up here. This one always has trouble dragging up.
With the crew and any receipt of data by flight controllers here in Mission Control. That blackout is scheduled to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. Again, a 6-minute blackout that will end, if all goes as planned, at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time. At that point, we expect to regain communications with the crew and a reacquisition of data through the tracking and data relay satellite system. We will have a series of roll maneuvers. These are computer commanded.
There's already deflected.
Vehicle slightly to the left, then back to the right. That will bleed off excess energy as we begin our peak period of velocity. We expect to reach a maximum velocity of 24,661.21 miles per hour, equivalent to about Mach 33 times the speed of sound shortly after we enter that blackout period. Once we exit the blackout period, of course, we're in the denser regions of the Earth's atmosphere, and then we get set up for the parachute deployment sequence. First, the deployment of 3 forward bay cover chutes that will pull essentially the top forward bay cover off the very top of the Integrity vehicle. That will be followed by the deployment of drogue chutes, and then the final deployment of a series of 3 main parachutes at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time. From that point on, It is about 3 minutes or so until splashdown. Splashdown scheduled at 7:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Central Time at a gentle speed of 19 miles an hour. So just to give you some perspective, at the time that we enter the Earth's atmosphere, we're traveling somewhere around Mach 32. We will splash down at a speed of about 19 miles an hour. The G-forces that will build on the
hopefully I didn't break it or anything.
Will build to about 3.9 Gs. That is what is expected and what they have trained for and what the spacecraft is designed to support.
Nice view of the interior there.
The latest weather forecast out in the recovery zone off the coast of San Diego is a go forecast from our meteorologists here at the Spaceflight Meteorology Group at the Johnson Space Center. And standing by on the deck of the USS John Murtha is my colleague from the Kennedy Space Center, Megan Cruz. Megan?
Hey there, Rob. Yeah, welcome to the bow of the USS John Murtha.
All right.
This is where we will report out live updates from the ship as NASA and the U.S. military work to recover our Artemis II astronauts in just about an hour and a half. How exciting. Now, right now, as you can see, we are out in the Pacific Ocean. We are just
Don't worry about that guy.
San Diego. We're actually staged about 6.5 miles away from where we expect Orion to splash down. And then we will incrementally move closer.
So we're heading to San Diego because that's where you're coming back to, so...
move to 3.2 miles away. At that point,
I'm starting a reasonable distance away.
That might be coming down with Orion, because basically some parts of like the parachute system, they're jettisoned off Orion during descent. So we'll just want to make sure that those all land
go
in
to
the
the
water
start of the
and that
runway.
we are safe to move even closer.
Could
So
take off from here.
we will make sure that we can move a little closer, and at that point we will move to a mile away from Orion. And at that point the ship will circle the capsule while NASA and
The control surface is worrying me.
work to get our astronauts out, and we should have great views of the bow.
Both ailerons are tilted up a little bit, or the flaps. Oh, I guess, let's see.
We actually have some cameras right to the left of me here on the bow. These are very strong, stabilized cameras. We can really get up close to make sure that we are sharing
Something's
all
not
the
quite
images
right.
we have available to you. We also will have some views from above. We actually have 5 planes providing live views of splashdown today. In fact, some of those aerial assets just took off from San Diego minutes ago. And then actually here on the flight deck, you see 4 helicopters, the 2 in the back. Those
Flaps
will
seem
take off in
to
about
be
30 minutes
up.
from now, also with live cameras. So again, lots and lots of imagery that we hope to share with you today. And then those 2 helos in the front, those 2 will pluck the crew out of the water and fly them back to our ship. Now, the combined team here on the ship, more than 550 people, left San Diego 4 days ago, and since then I've watched different teams train every day, rehearse, final preps to make sure that they're ready for today. So to give us more of an update about how recovery is going on right now, why don't we turn over to Paul here, Paul Serpinski. He is the Assistant Artemis Recovery Director. Great to have you here, Paul.
Great to be here, thanks.
Absolutely. So you just left the landing forces operations center here on the ship. How are we looking for recovery?
Right now it's looking great. When I left, they were just about to get into weather briefing with Mission Control Center in Houston, but listening to the loops this morning and everything that's been going on, the reentry trajectory correction burn.
Is that how much the flaps should be there? I guess so.
Right on the money, right down the middle, where they should be coming back. Our forces here are teams out in the water. All our boats are launched.
Here we go.
Will be imminently. So yeah, it's just coming along great.
Yeah. It's really nice to see. We did see some of those boats float behind us. We were hoping to give you a live view, but of course they floated right out of the camera shot as you came to us. But so basically the team right now here on the ship, basically like monitoring mode, but really things will pick up about 15 minutes after splashdown.
And we're off.
A couple minutes before splashdown, things start happening really, really fast. Some events during the re-entry, they're maybe a second or 2 apart, and so it just takes a whole lot of effort and a lot of updates back and forth between us and Houston to try to keep track of everything that's happening, all in real
Well, I'm
time.
gonna try and keep under the weather.
After splashdown, that's when the recovery team really kicks into high gear. We have our boat teams, our boat crews going out, our divers, doing hazardous assessments as they get progressively closer to the capsule, making sure, you know, it's safe for all of our people to go in, and it's also safe for the astronauts to come out, because really at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, is we're to make sure that the astronauts get home safe after their tremendous journey to the moon and back. But then also we have, like you mentioned on a minute ago, all of our imagery helicopters are taking imagery, camera shots of it as it's coming in all the way through splashdown. I mean, they'll see it as soon as it crosses the horizon, all the way to the ocean here.
And then afterwards, we have to recover actually Orion to bring it into the well deck of the ship.
Absolutely, yeah. And so once the astronauts are safe on board, then those same dive teams are going to transition into securing the capsule. They'll position some equipment around it to kind of...
Oh yeah, our ailerons are sort of weird. My compass also seems to be weird too.
We'll pull the capsule around behind the ship and then start to slowly bring it in. And then, yeah, Orion comes in, goes hard down, and everyone cheers.
Yeah,
Great day.
Great day.
That's
Exactly.
definitely
Lots
not
to
matched
coordinate,
with
a lot
that.
to manage. Basically,
That's
planning
all
for
right.
this recovery, Artemis II
Now, how do I
recovery,
fix this one?
Started a month after Artemis I launched. That was the uncrewed test flight of the Space Launch System rocket, as well as the Orion spacecraft. That was November 2022. A month later, all the planning for this. How does it feel to be so close to welcoming our friends, our astronauts, home?
I mean, for the whole
Apparently
team,
not
I'm
like
around the
that.
ship
Anyway.
and just kind of visiting with a lot of people.
At least as long as I have that one up there, it's fine.
And everyone has that same kind of mentality. Everyone's excited. Everyone's thrilled to see all that work that we've been doing, like you said, for the last 3 years, since right after the last one came back until now. And some people even further back. Some of them go back a decade or more. So everyone is just excited and they're ready. They're really ready for this, and just to be able to see our crew come back, that's going to be a thrill for everyone.
How are you feeling? Are you ready? Is this something you ever thought you'd be doing?
I'm ready.
He didn't seem super sure about that.
It really has. I've seen a lot of firsts, a lot of lasts, but I can't think of ever topping seeing the first crew to go to the moon and back in 50 years, and to be here and be a part of that. And it's just a tremendous privilege, and on behalf of the whole team, I'm thrilled, and so are all of us. We're ready.
Yeah, I definitely think that those words really embody how everybody on the ship is feeling. So thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you being here. And so, Rob, we'll toss it back to you again. We will continue to join you with live updates from the ship as much as possible.
Thank you, Megan. Back here at the Johnson Space Center, the entry team of flight controllers looking over the shoulders of Reed Wiseman and Victor Glover there on the flight deck of Integrity, and again just below their feet in the mid-deck area, if you will, Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen of the Canadian Space Agency. They're in the final review of their entry procedures and all of the activities that will follow here very shortly in trip hammer fashion. We should
Trip
note
hammer
that
fashion?
When splashdown occurs, the flight control team here in Houston will
I don't know that
monitoring
one.
the orientation of the Integrity spacecraft. We are expecting it to splash down upright in what is called the Stable 1 configuration, with the top of the spacecraft pointed upward. Stable 2 would indicate that it is upside down in the water. Regardless of the orientation, there will be 5 inflatable airbags called the CMOOS system. That's the acronym
CMOOS.
module uprighting system.
Houston, copy.
Okay, how did this autopilot work exactly?
Are now complete for the crew. Leak checks have been completed earlier. The CMOOS system, those 5 inflatable airbags, will be inflated with helium. Those airbags will ensure that the vehicle remains upright. While that activity is going on, the flight control team here will be checking the systems on Integrity, also making sure that there's no leakage of toxic gas from the spacecraft. It should take about 15 minutes from splashdown to the power down of all of the systems on Integrity, and at that point, assuming everything is in a nominal fashion, then the green light will be given for the Navy recovery teams to begin to make their way closer to
Okay,
Integrity.
that's working for selecting.
A large inflatable life raft called a front porch that will be buttressed up alongside the hatchway to the spacecraft. That life raft will be used to bring the crew members out of this vehicle once the hatch is open, one by one. They'll get their land legs back.
Or not.
Days of weightlessness.
Okay, it's not helping.
Put in harnesses to be hoisted one by one in sequential fashion and in alternating fashion to the two hovering Navy helicopters overhead.
Integrity for status.
Go ahead.
Seats 3 and 4 are connecting umbilicals. We're going to be stepping into leak check soon. 1 and 2 will be seated, and 3 and 4 will be free float, and we'll
Up altitude hold. I'll take that.
Houston, copies all.
Well, that doesn't seem to be doing much.
Reed Wiseman talking about the current procedures with the suiting of the crew members and subsequent leak
I'll
check.
put turn mode. Can we just not turn?
Everything is actually
That would
running a
be
few minutes
best.
ahead of schedule. So once the life raft is inflated next to the Integrity spacecraft and the recovery teams have arrived alongside of the vehicle, the hatch will be open.
Okay, well, it's not holding altitude either.
Into that front porch, as it is called, one by one. They then will be hoisted into the hovering helos overhead, and those helos then will turn around once the 4 crew members are on board, 2 for each helicopter, and will head back to the ship. That should be about a
Hopefully
10
HD is
minute
hold.
transit. Once the helicopters land on the deck of the USS John Bertha.
Well, I certainly can't turn it.
will be,
Okay.
Exiting those helicopters and brought into medical bay on the deck on the ship itself.
All right,
for
we need to
comprehensive
pull up
medical
now.
Exams. They will spend a period of time yet to be determined on board the USS John Bertha before they are flown by helicopter to the shore in San Diego, to the San Diego Naval Air Station, and ultimately will board a NASA jet for the flight back to the Johnson Space Center here in Houston. Just to recap some of the key times that are coming up, we are expecting the separation of the crew module from the service module just 43 minutes.
I sense
from now.
that I'll need
That
some
is
lights.
expected to occur at 6:33 p.m. Central Time, 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time. That
Whoa.
will be followed just 4 minutes later by the crew module raise burn, the use of Integrity's thrusters, one final
Okay,
time, and
well,
19
whatever it was
seconds
trying to do with
to
the
slightly tilt the
autopilot.
vehicle up into the correct
Okay.
orientation
Oh,
or
oh,
angle of
that's not
attack
good either.
to ensure that it enters the Earth's atmosphere at the right angle, if you will. That will help deflect the buildup of heat against Integrity's heat shield. This was a deliberate move, a change in the procedures from the Artemis I mission that resulted in unexpected.
Well, now it's got all the lights
on the
there.
Avcode heat shield that had not been intended based on the entry trajectory for the Artemis I mission. What we're doing is we deliberately changed the trajectory of
Okay,
the entry.
maybe it's working
from a
now.
skip entry that was about a 3,000-mile transit across the Pacific Ocean. We are expecting now from entry interface to the point of splashdown.
We'll
to
see.
have a range of just 1,701 nautical
I
miles.
really don't
and
need
that
you
in
down,
of itself
Visor.
will reduce the exposure time of heating on the heat shield of the spacecraft. Once the raise burn
Okay,
is
I think
complete,
better.
then the stage is set for entry interface at 6:53 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time. That means that Integrity will be entering the Earth's atmosphere
Scooting
at an
along
altitude of 400,000
over the
feet,
Central Valley of
traveling
California.
at about 34,882 feet per second, heading for its splashdown site. Off the
Earth
coast
really
of San
looking good
Diego,
there.
as you just heard from Megan Cruz on the deck of the USS John Bertha. Splashdown once again under those 3 main parachutes is expected at 7:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset. The actual total distance traveled for Integrity from launch to splashdown is estimated at 694,481 statute miles. Now that includes the first high elliptical Earth orbit following launch that enabled Integrity to move to 43,000 miles above the Earth at its apogee. and enabling a 24-hour period of systems checkouts before the flight control team here and the mission management team gave approval for Integrity to conduct its translunar injection that propelled it on its way to the moon and its historic lunar flyby. So the total distance we expect this vehicle to have traveled at splashdown, 694,481 statute miles.
Rookie numbers, really.
With everything proceeding on track and on time aboard Integrity, the vehicle system's in excellent shape as the Earth grows larger in the field of view. Let's go back to the USS John Murtha and
cancellation of Lunar Gateway? Depends on what the plan is. Like, we still only have Orion being able to bring crew back from the moon. And Orion's pretty cramped, so might have been nice, especially since the modules seem to be ready. At least having 1 or 2 modules around the moon wouldn't be too bad, just for Orion to stop over at, so that the crew could stretch a little bit more. I mean, how tough can it be? They don't have to keep crew on it constantly, but just having it available is not necessarily a bad thing, since they've already spent money building the things.
Dr. Rick Schuring here. He is a NASA flight surgeon. Great to have you here, Ray.
Also, our partners were trying to build stuff associated with Lunar Gateway, like supply vehicles and such. So I'm not generally as negative as everybody else, but it was sort of a specialty thing. So it does depend.
Yeah, and you play a really integral role. When was the last time you spoke?
Is it critical? No, not really.
This last hour before splashdown.
Sure. Yeah, so the crew woke up, when they splashed down, they were woken up about 8.5 hours ago. Me and my fellow crew surgeons, Doctors Chris Haas and Rafi Kumjian from the Canadian Space Agency, spoke with them about 6.5 hours ago, just to double check on how they were doing, if there's any medical issues, you know, how they slept, and then kind of go over their landing day protocol for the medications, what we call a fluid load, to try to replace some of the fluid and electrolytes that they've lost with just a normal space adaptation. Once they got to space, they kind of have to
Gatorade time.
Fluid to help them with the whole landing.
Yeah, I mean, all space things are cool yet inadequate, right? I'm like, you know, I hate all rockets because they're all not featuring warp drives and really advanced stuff, but it's all we've got, so all cool but inadequate. I mean, what really kills me is how a huge chunk of the space community takes more pleasure in trying to end programs than just rooting for things. Seems like mostly they're spending time trying to end programs sometimes.
The human system is very kind of dynamic. It has to readapt very quickly, and one of the most common responses they get is just some stomach awareness to some.
And they say it's because there's not enough money, but then, you know, we're spending the entire budget of NASA on a war every week, so I'm not sure that money was the problem.
I worked with all the Apollo astronauts years ago, and they all told me that,
yeah, and Trump wants to cut NASA's budget, so like
take steps to give them medicines to really mitigate some of that nausea, vomiting, help them feel a little better, and also sometimes just use a little anti-inflammatory medicine.
You know, they're arguing like if it didn't go to Lunar Gateway or something, it'll all go to SpaceX, but instead it's just not being there and it's got to end up in the Department of Defense or whatever.
But for the most part, the main thing is just replacing that fluid and then trying to help them with that transition back to.
Yes, everyone, see, it's very important to keep up your fluids and your electrolytes.
Yeah, So we have Dr. Jesse Wang, and we have our independent duty corpsmen, who are the Navy Virgin and paramedics, extremely highly trained, highly experienced Navy medics and divers.
So we're just flying through California, heading towards San Diego, where they're gonna be picked up. Probably I should have flown like a Osprey or something, but I've wanted to spend time with my little Comanche for a while now.
Let them know how they're doing, and then you know, if they've got the normal kind of space adaptation kind of things, we expect that they're good to go on that. If anything, you know, didn't go the way we want, they're all prepared for that as well. And Jesse and his team, I mean, you know, this is a full-time job taking care of, you know, sailors and folks who might be injured. We don't expect any injuries, but coming back, you know, going 25,000 miles an hour down to, you know, 20, you know, miles an hour is still a dynamic process. I've heard
dynamic process indeed.
Like a car crash, and then the crew will be ready to go, and Jesse and his team will make that transition to get them out to the front porch.
Probably shouldn't have made the car crash comparison, but okay.
Once we have that, and they're all good to go, and the crew's feeling okay, we'll hoist them up in the helos. It's about a 3-minute flight back to the flight deck, and that's where me and the astronaut chief Scott Tingle will actually meet them. I'll get eyes on them, make sure they're all good, just take very slow transitions, and then one by one we'll either get them out with the SMTs, the SAR med techs under each arm, just, you know, kind of just walking very slowly to med bay, which actually helps them acclimate back to 1G, or if they really don't have their sea legs back.
At least the ailerons are back into proper position now.
And then just very slowly kind of get them back into med bay to start our full assessments for the team.
Yeah, so a really great team here to support them as soon as they get back, and also all throughout the mission, of course. You talked a little bit about this, but obviously, you know, we have seen astronauts return from the International Space Station for over 25 years, so we kind of know that that journey, how it affects the body. But yes, we're talking about humans returning from the moon for the first time since 1972. How is this different from your perspective?
So it's different in one very significant respect. With on Apollo, for exercise, they had something called the Apollo Exergenia, which was basically just a little canister with some ropes, and they would have some resistance and kind of do that. And the Apollo astronauts really like that. They like the ability to exercise, because you decondition from a musculoskeletal standpoint, you lose your strength and your stamina very quickly. We had something called the Orion flywheel, which was able to impart much greater loads in terms of resistance, so they're able to do squats, deadlifts, different things, not dissimilar to what the ISS astronauts do, but with a lot less room to do it. And they also do rolling activities for cardiovascular health, and the crews loved it. But for the lunar crews, the future lunar crews, maintaining that physical conditioning, which are astronaut strength conditioning rehabilitation specialists, affectionately known as the ACERs, back in Houston, really work hard to get them in the best shape they're going to, you know, have to be in to get to the moon. That device hopefully will maintain that. And Apollo only had about a 4.3-day journey to the moon. Our astronauts are going to have about a 10 to 14-day journey.
Well, Apollo was 4.3 days to it. It was a round trip, minimum 8, maximum 14, so it's about the same length. He's not quite right about that.
To say about the role exercise plays, you know, going to the moon, and also the mental benefit. They just really like sweating, breaking the sweat, and actually just feeling like, you know, they're just getting a workout. So
thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate it. I know they're going to be in good hands, so we'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the time.
Back to you, Rob.
Okay, Megan, back here in Mission Control in Houston, everything is moving along in order. This view of Reed Wiseman on the
I don't need that, do I?
On the right, we have good suit leak checks. Everything aboard integrity is in excellent shape. The vehicle with the Earth growing.
Guess it's all right now.
The field of view.
Didn't get any notification. Typical. Well, hello, Pekka. They're coming back. 1 hour and 5 minutes, as you just heard. They had a clock up. I don't know why they've removed the clock from the screen, but they had a clock. I'm just flying through California, heading towards San Diego, where they're going to be picked up. I don't think I'm going to get there before they get back, so...
Seats 3 and 4 are working on seat strap in now.
Houston, copy.
Once again, as we start to close in on some of the major milestones, the first one coming up in just 31 minutes.
They're very sure on the clock. There's no question when the mission is going to hit the atmosphere. That we can be absolutely sure of. There's no calling it off or anything.
Scheduled just 31 minutes from now. The key point of interest, of course, will be the performance of Integrity's heat shield during its high-speed entry back into Earth at the peak heating that is expected around the spacecraft of some 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. On Artemis I, as I think most folks know by now,
they did have a splashdown clock.
Skip entry in which we performed an initial dip into the atmosphere to bleed off some energy. Then we skipped out of the atmosphere and dipped back into the atmosphere before splashing down in the Pacific. But after the mission was over with, we noticed unexpected liberation of some of the charring effects on the heat shield known as AVCOAT. Before the flight, we had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to get a perspective on what this all means and how the mission was redesigned to try to protect Integrity's heat shield to a higher extent.
This doesn't seem to be showing the stuff happening. I thought it did.
Returning from the
Oh,
moon
now
is
this
a
one
lot
is.
different than orbiting from low Earth orbit. When we return from the moon, we expect to
Splashdown is different from
36,000
entry.
per second. And in order to
Entry interface
slow
should be
down
pretty
the
definite.
nice, graceful splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, the flight crew is going to experience between 3 and 4 times the force of Earth's gravity.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go up a bit.
Inside the char layer
Could go over there,
shield
too.
Resulted in the char losses we saw. NASA established a Tiger team whose job was to investigate the cause of the problem and then make recommendations on how to fly the Artemis II mission.
Okay, why don't I
safely
just
and successfully.
take
And so
autopilot
Artemis
off for
II,
now?
We are going to fly a profile that ensures the spacecraft will not see that same type of pressure profile. And so the char losses seen on Artemis II will not be like the ones that we saw on Artemis I.
Oh, maybe we should go this way considering our intended course.
Rick Henfling indicated that
They fixed the toilet a few times.
and the shortening of the distance of transit.
They fixed it, and then it had a different problem. They fixed that.
Top of the Earth's atmosphere, which will be coming up at 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, should do the trick in minimizing the deleterious forces against that heat shield that were noticed on the Artemis I mission.
We think we see a beautiful sunrise over the west coast of Australia.
Oh well, too bad. We can't see it. There goes the live feed.
We copy.
Commander Reed Wiseman reveling in his final hour in space on this mission as Integrity is passing over the southwest coast of Australia now at an altitude of some 7,600 nautical miles. That will begin the southwest and northeast.
No, where are you holding to?
Pacific Ocean. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the highlights and some of the numbers associated with
The toilet is off now?
We are 27
I didn't get the latest
and a half
toilet
minutes
update
away
then.
from crew module service
Uh-oh.
module separation. That will be
Oh,
followed
that-
about 3.5 minutes later by the raise burn that we've discussed, a 19-second
That's
burn of
interesting.
Integrity's thrusters to fine-tune its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface is scheduled 47.5 minutes from now. That's the point at which we will reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere.
Push to
traveling,
switch mode.
About 34,882 feet per second at an altitude of 400,000 feet.
Okay, that could be very dramatic, but maybe I need to do that, because this is wrong anyway.
6 minutes in duration at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. Now, right about 10 seconds after the blackout period begins, we are expected to reach peak speed.
I didn't mean to
which will
turn
be
like this.
24,661 miles.
Well, yeah. It's academic at
That'll
this
be
point.
About 103 miles an hour short of the velocity record set
Whoa.
by the Apollo 10 astronauts, Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John
This
Young,
has an
when they
interesting
returned from the
autopilot.
moon on the Apollo 10 mission in 1969. That blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes in duration. At 6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, we'll reach our peak heating period of about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees while we're in a communications blackout from Integrity and its astronauts. That blackout should end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time at which point we expect to regain communications with the crew. Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in the flight control room.
Jackie Mahaffey.
Will be, talking to the crew, calling them, and we'll await a response from the crew as they come out of that blackout period. And at that point, their altitude will be just 157,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at 13,000 feet.
Well, at least this compass matches that compass over there. But it's not quite aligned with the map.
From that point on, the next key series of events will be the deployment of a series of parachutes that we discussed.
Roll out their next Starship and booster for static fires ahead of flight. Like today, you mean? Or when are you talking about?
Followed by drogue chute deploy and then the main chute deploy. That's expected at 7:04 and 44 seconds.
But they're not planning to fly before the IPO, right?
Descent of Integrity towards its splashdown at just a velocity of just 19 miles an hour. And that will begin the recovery operations that you just heard Megan Cruz discuss with her folks on the USS John Murtha.
My understanding was that they were not going to launch ahead of the stock offering.
Complete as we stand by for the next major milestone, which will be the crew module service module separation just 24.5 minutes from now.
Late April. Well, it's sooner than I think, but okay. Oh, earliest. Well, then.
From the start of entry interface to the point of splashdown will be quite rapid fire. Just 13.5 minutes from the point.
Why say rapid fire?
Into the Earth's atmosphere till splashdown. And
this is Vacaville, the city of Vacaville,
surgeon alluded to in his interview with Megan Cruz,
which has a mysterious blue tree right there.
Accelerate the vehicle from traveling around Mach 33 to just 19 miles an hour at splashdown. All of that happening in just 13.5 minutes. But the vehicle and the parachutes are all designed to support all of that. So we'll be standing by to report all that.
Finish? Well, it depends on what you call finish.
Sequential fashion as these milestones are ticked off and as we hear from the crew during its entry back.
They sort of have to finish it by Artemis III. That's just required. Artemis III requires Starship to be ready, so by definition they have to finish.
So with all of those preparations,
otherwise Artemis III is not happening.
We can return here briefly for
that's different from when Artemis III is currently planned, though. It's a little airport there.
And we'll regain that communication with the USS John P. Murtha just momentarily.
The thunder you heard was in flight.
In the meantime, everything is on track.
Oh, there's the splashdown clock again.
Flight control team here in Houston, led by entry flight director Rick Henfling. The voice you will hear talking to the crew is that of Jackie Mahaffey. She will be reporting everything to the crew and receiving their reports.
This is now Fairfield, California.
For their 13.5-minute plunge back into the atmosphere for splashdown off the coast of San Diego. Now we have the ship back with us and Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha. Megan?
11 balloon, right?
Finishing design on your booster. It's about time.
Hey Rob, yeah, the excitement is really building here on the ship. I'm watching right now one of the weather balloons being lofted up from the
if
ship.
Blue Origin is ready by then, that's true.
To make sure that we are
I don't know
right
if that's the
weather,
case.
And also the data that's needed.
You have a
for what's
point.
called our Sasquatch
Travis
scan.
Air
So
Force
that
Base is over there.
Basically make sure that the debris
That's that
comes
runway
off of
there.
Orion, again, some of those pieces of the parachute system, make sure that they don't fall on us here in the sea, and also our aerial assets, our folks in helicopters. So watching that float away right now. But with me right now is Captain Eric Kenny. He's the commanding officer of the John P.
Oh, I'm all the way at 2,000 feet. You're supposed to hold altitude.
There are so many moving parts that you have.
Let's go down.
That's absolutely right, yeah. But first of all, on behalf of the crew of USS John P. Murtha, Megan, thanks for having me on today. happy to tell you what we're doing and excited to get the interview started.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we actually take a look at the flight deck here? We'll start there. Basically, we also, while watching this weather balloon float away, we noticed all 4 helicopters leave the flight deck. We now have an empty flight deck. We had 2 infantry helos.
Ablative on your second stage, even though it's supposed to be reusable? Well, I guess if Starship can use ablative, they are sort of using ablative, though underneath the tiles. I don't know what the rules are, really.
Really, every naval service member, our priority is always safety. And as the commanding officer, I take that.
Why? I mean,
roles here on board, mission accomplishment.
when you can have tiles, why are you using ablative?
My day really has, I would say my message to the crew has sort of changed over the past 24 hours. As we're leading up to today, we've been building up an excitement and motivating the team for the training that we've executed. But really over the past 24 hours, now I'm trying to get us to slow down a little bit. Trust our training. Right? Don't believe all the hype. Don't believe everything that's going on. Just let's trust what we do.
What hype is he talking about?
And if we do that, we'll be successful today.
And also part of the big success is obviously...
I didn't realize there was re-entry hype to be ignored by the crew, but okay.
The human space program we have.
Yeah, I mean, since 1959 with Mercury, Gemini, Apollo.
Ah, he had the Gemini
NASA
thing.
Navy has been in lockstep. But like any other skill, if you don't practice it regularly, the skill atrophies. You know, so we've had a few decades off from that. But, you know, over the past 4 or 5 years, really, this ship over the past year, we've constantly trained and working for this moment right here. You know, building up the hype to get to this point today, be able to trust.
What's with him and hype? I swear he's not using that word correctly.
Air Force, the medical team, dive team. Like, you want to talk about high performance organizations coming together, working in unison. We are seeing that here on board the USS John P. Murphy, and I can't be more proud of all the work everyone's doing.
Yeah, you had some great words this morning saying just that, again, that it's really nice to see everybody working together and so excited. I mean, you just became the commanding officer of this ship back in February. How does it personally feel for you to be a part of this historic moment today?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd say any opportunity to command any warship in the United States Navy is a tremendous honor, is a pinnacle of any naval officer's career. That being said, as my change of command was approaching, and I realized that Artemis was going to be in the window here, to say that I'm humbled and honored to be here is an understatement. What really just excites me is the opportunity to see this crew who has been training so hard over the past
I don't
year
know.
plus,
I like tiles.
it is what inspires me.
I think the anti-tile thing is a little bit overblown. Even SpaceX is okay with tiles.
That synergy is something that I'm happy to see and hopefully take forward with me in my career.
Yeah, it's all about partnerships. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't have gotten to the moon without our international partners as well. So thank you so much, Captain. It was really great to have you here today.
Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. All right, Rob, back to you.
Well, let me quickly grab my dinner and I'll be right back. Hopefully I don't crash into anything.
We'll get that view back, and there they are again. Here in Mission Control, the entry team of flight controllers led by Rick Henfling and Jackie Mahaffey serving as the spacecraft communicator. We have just handed over communications links from the Deep Space Network that we communicated with the crew through from the time of the translunar injection burn back on April 2nd. We've just handed back to the tracking and data relay satellite system as we prepare for the crew module service module separation that will take place just 17 minutes from now. With the Earth looming in front of Integrity as it barrels back for a splashdown of the Pacific just 50 minutes from now, we're just 5,700 nautical miles from splashdown. Just one other quick note about the comparison from the Artemis I entry profile to the Artemis II entry profile, and how that is serving as a extra layer of protection for Integrity's heat shield. The Artemis I entry had an entry range of some 3,178 nautical miles, a very long downtrack and a very longer period.
I mean, it depends how big your stage is, Becca.
Also had that skip entry profile that we discussed.
If you have to replace a blader on a large stage, that's still gonna have an expense associated with it, and that might be more expensive than just checking the tiles.
Jackie, we have it loud and clear on Tidris.
We have you the same.
And there's one of the weather balloons being deployed from the USS John P. Murtha. So the Artemis I entry had the vehicle.
The update on GPS, we haven't seen a track in yet.
Reed, we are watching. We are starting to get into the window where they may start acquiring, so should be within the next 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We're holding at step 17 and getting ready for CMRCS hot fire.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor for the entry interface that will lead them to their splashdown point. Once again, the Artemis I entry exposed the heat shield for about 20 minutes of peak heating. For Artemis II, we're going to reach a downtrack distance of 1,701
5 meters in radius. Well, that's not a big deal, probably.
And it's basically a different angle of attack, a little bit steeper angle.
I mean, and it's just a circle.
Excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis I and Artemis II, all designed into this mission to gather data, to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis III mission and beyond will have a
You're protecting the bottom end and not the belly, or
that skip entry type of profile to be resumed for all of the future missions coming back from the south.
so it depends on how long the stage is if you're protecting the belly.
So we've handed over to
The
the
top.
tracking and data
Okay,
relay
well.
satellite system. That's where we'll have communications for the rest of the flight. Just to give you some time hacks here, we're 13 and a half minutes away from crew module, service module separation, and just 17 minutes away from the raise burn, that 19-second firing.
Raise burn.
That will basically be the
I'm
final
getting
firing
irrational
of the angle of
enthusiasm
attack
from that.
for Integrity as it enters the Earth's atmosphere.
131 square meters, huh? That's interesting. Wouldn't have expected that from a circle, but... We are now in the San Francisco Bay Area. Well, you said 5 meters in radius, right? So it's 5 squared times pi. 5 squared is 25 times pi is about 75 plus a little bit extra, not 131.
Suited and seated.
Houston, copy.
That confirmation from Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, as you see the assets.
Yeah, your blender area might be reading both sides of the thing or some additional surface.
From Integrity, keeping a safe distance until we are sure that the vehicle is in the water and upright, and that it is in a good configuration system-wide for the recovery teams to begin to approach the vehicle to erect that.
Oh, it's a dome.
2 minutes.
Well, that's still more than I would expect from a dome.
We're ready.
They're ready.
From spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey indicating that we're 2 minutes away from a quick burst of the reaction control system thrusters. That will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module. The European service module has performed flawlessly throughout this flight. Everything
A squished sphere.
that had been prescribed.
Okay, well, just make sure it's not calculating any extra surfaces.
On time and without a problem. There is the European flight control room that has overseen the manufacturing the design of the European service module. They deserve quite a bit of credit on this mission for not only propelling the Integrity and its astronauts toward the moon, but also conducting the fine-tuning of its trajectory to bring it to this point where we are dead spot on down the middle of the corridor trajectory-wise to bring Integrity down for its splashdown in the Pacific just 44 minutes from now.
You mean the pink X-15? Well, that, I don't know if that would have worked from orbit. That was just for other purposes. Not quite from orbit. And of course it was a hassle. I mean, I was thinking that the dome would be a little bit more squished like regular heat shield from low Earth orbit. So I wouldn't expect it to be as close to a hemisphere as just a flat circle, but
about 16,000 miles an hour.
Whatever works. This is my highway, right? This is the one I'm supposed to be following, right? Yes, this is I-80 below us. Interstate 80.
Copy that.
Now just about 5,100 miles from Earth. Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now. We're just 9.5 minutes away from the crew module service module separation.
Ahead is the city of Richmond.
We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
Looks good on board, Jackie. Thank you.
And Jackie Mahaffey took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that we had a good hot fire test.
Heating as far away as possible.
In advance of the crew module.
I thought you would want the curvature to be
just 8.5 minutes from now.
not quite that much. Well, I mean, I'd have to see the thing.
Begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board.
Well,
that will lead
Highway
to
80 is going that way.
28 minutes from now, where the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. The time of entry interface, 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Well, Richmond is not meant to be wonderful. Richmond is a suburb, so... Nobody's thinking that Richmond is a pinnacle of a city. Let me assure you.
Integrity's astronauts were awakened at mid-morning to begin their entry preparations.
Most of U.S. is a suburb.
And propulsion officer now reports
we're going to one of the cities that has at least some non-suburb areas, but it probably needs more non-suburb areas if they would just let people build things there. San Francisco, of course. Image.
Inside 41 minutes until splashdown.
Integrity Houston, we have
that's a lot more curvature than probably it should have, Pekka.
Although we are not seeing GPS acquired yet, you can skip the troubleshooting steps in 157 for now.
I mean, that's very much a hemisphere.
That GPS discussion indicating that we will be acquiring.
Okay, where's Berkeley? Berkeley's also sort of cozy.
Equipment on board.
Almost.
But we will.
Almost a European. Not really. It's a town, not a city.
It once again will reach a peak speed of 24,600.
It's like a European town.
GPS, we at least have GPS 1 looking good on board.
We're confirming.
I don't think it's gotta be, well, I don't know. I've never seen a heat shield like that.
Navigation and control officer here in Mission Control confirming that we have good lock on GPS.
I don't like the apparent edge in it.
On a communications link now through the tracking and
Like, you've got sort of an extension to it. See, I mean, I didn't... Well, you have sort of a skirt there. This is UC Berkeley, by the way.
So that we can talk to the crew inside.
I don't know why there's an extra tower next to the clock tower, but...
We do see good GPS.
That is where I went to university.
Especially GPS 1 is accepting in nav channels 1 and 3.
Deployable. Was that included in your 131 or not?
That GPS data is basically telling.
Is that also ablative? Oh, the weather's not great right now, though.
But its trajectory and its orientation according to flight dynamics and the guidance.
That's to control the trajectory? Okay. Alright. Well, I'll ignore that.
The pyros for the crew module service module separation coming up less than 5 minutes.
I was not happy with the edge between the hemispheric thing and that.
Once again, just 10 seconds after entry interface, we will see integrity reaching its peak speed of 24,000.
The city in front of us is at least sort of a city. Oh, I don't know why Flight Sim 2024 is jittery. That is Oakland.
Your vehicle is in a good config for CMSM SEP and go for CM raise.
Houston, we see the same on board and copy go for CM raise.
That CM raise referred to as the slight firing of 19 seconds by Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second.
So it's more of a city.
Aft end of the vehicle so that it's tilted a bit upward, providing the final angle of attack as the vehicle enters the.
You can tell, I mean, it's a serious port and everything.
Being the mitigating factor that will reduce heat loads on the heat shield as we reach a point downrange.
The weather is not great to appreciate that, though.
1,701 nautical miles to the splashdown site. Integrity systems in excellent shape. We are currently 33
and the port of Oakland
left in this mission. Splashdown scheduled 36 minutes 39 seconds from now.
Seattle's great. I like Seattle too.
For the 2 enabled prop cautions.
Seattle's right up there with San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco Bay Area is too expensive for anybody to actually live in, except for the ones already living there.
Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
It's warmer than Seattle, though.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating.
Uh-oh, we've got a ship that's run aground here.
All of Integrity systems are in good shape.
Well, if you don't mind the cold, then there's no problem. Photogrammetry doesn't really suit this stuff. All right, the Bay Bridge.
Now, coming up on about 90 seconds till the crew module, service module separation.
They really need to build more. And I'll tell you exactly where they need to build more stuff and get rid of. They don't need every single old house to still exist, please. They're pretty monotonous in certain parts of San Francisco.
Critical phase of the completion of this flight. All of the preparatory activities leading up to the vehicle.
This is the most inappropriately named Treasure Island. Like...
Coming up on 1 minute. Mark, 1 minute till crew module, service module separation.
Oh, they can tax landlords without you becoming Maoist. Maoist is if you don't have landlords. And there it is, the great city of San Francisco. Probably a few more big buildings now. The Transamerica Pyramid to the right there used to be the tallest, and they have the Salesforce Tower. I don't think I'm gonna hit that, but let's just give it some room. This is a real city. This part, at least, is trying. Right next to the port. You can walk around it for sure. You'd better. There's no good parking. Don't try to drive in San Francisco. That's hopeless.
Houston, good time on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from integrity. A job well done.
You'll get some exercise too because of the
Integrity,
hills.
No action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related.
Service module SEP. And we have little sparks all over the place. Okay, here, this endless monotony of little buildings. This isn't even the worst of it, actually, to be honest. Somewhere out here, they could have another bunch of tall buildings, like Tokyo has in Shinjuku.
Next up, the raise burn, a 19-second firing.
Salute to Avcoat, yeah. That's Telegraph Hill there. I don't want to smack into it. We'll turn south.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is
Raise
the
burn.
tweaking of the orientation.
Nice little sort of terrace thing going here.
To put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's
This part can have small buildings, it's fine. It's just that really large middle could do with some other collection of proper apartment buildings. We don't need all of that to be the same.
Just 2,800 miles from Earth.
Or this part.
Houston, we got a great view of the European service module out the window with the...
Gotta say European service module, otherwise the Europeans are gonna be pissed.
Right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
You can't just say service module.
Roger.
We're gonna go the Highway 1 route
And we have completed
for the scenery.
The raise burn orientation. 1 minute away from the raise burn.
Back in the old days, we could just say service module separation. Canadians are practically European. If only he was from Quebec, he'd be European. Because there has to be a special kind of woke that has to do with acknowledging that Europe exists and it has separate countries that each have their own identity. That's a special kind of woke, which is sort of a different kind of woke.
19-second firing of the thrusters.
But it still contradicts Still contradicts the sort of line that people have around here.
Integrity, good. CM raise burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
These houses look like they're begging for a few extra stories. Why is it so jerky?
The final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll for the first minute or so in that attitude.
Well, we've seen those maps on like threads before, James Studios.
We copy.
Oh, this part is pretty... I mean, they've got great beaches though. So, you know, I'm going like...
So for those who are watching,
that's the Pacific Ocean, for heaven's sakes.
Series of events coming up,
and they don't even have to worry about hurricanes, so they've got a good deal. Let's face it, but I think more people should be able to live there.
6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second. Range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communication.
It's very, very scenic.
This is expected due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle. That's an ionization.
This is Pacifica,
due to the collision,
that little town there.
The velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969.
Well, Pacifica, I don't think you would have to, because they don't have any choice. They've got to have some groceries there. I mean, they're not getting out of there. They're probably going to need to have grocery stores in there. There's no way it's a 30-minute drive. It's probably more like your normal European situation than you think. I don't know if the Chrysler is named after that. There's a rainbow even. Or it's just named after the Pacific Ocean.
From the end of the blackout period until splashdown, it is just 7 minutes. At which point,
this up here is Half Moon Bay.
Parachutes to slow Integrity down to an ultimate splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
Do you like Half Moon Bay?
The parachute deployment sequence once again will come in several segments, but in rapid fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Guess we'll have to go back.
I guess we'll have to go back.
Reed Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now. 3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle. Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent, followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay.
Got a little community here somehow.
sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 100.
This is the actual bay.
Diameter. Each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed.
They have been down to Earth. That's an observatory.
From its peak speed
Half Moon Bay Observatory, I suppose.
times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour as splashdown.
Or that's actually an Air Force station. So maybe the radars.
The vehicle is now currently in a roll.
They're observing something.
For entry interface, our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics.
Beaches here, of course, is all sort of counted as the Half Moon Bay area. If you want really big grocery stores, there they are probably.
Integrity is on a trajectory
Probably.
from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of
Strip mall
15,000
kind of
feet per
thing.
second.
That looks like a Walmart and Friends to me. Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever.
Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
Well, the next actual city is gonna be Santa Cruz. You need, yeah, well, if you're going to go to Walmart, you need to drive to it, because you're not going to Walmart. Well, Walmart's not a grocery store. Walmart is, you're getting a big haul from Walmart. Walmart and Costco. There are smaller grocery stores, you know. I have grocery stores, even in my little town of 7,000, I have grocery stores that I can walk to. Okay? It's more of a walk than you would be used to, but I can walk to them. But I don't have any Walmart around here. Walmart would be 10 miles away. So I drive to it. But there's no way I'm going to go to Walmart to get one bag worth of groceries. I'm a very avid walker, so yeah. I don't think everybody else is around here. I might be the only person who walks to the grocery store around here. Most Americans will drive even if it's a 10-minute walk. So...
Out in the Pacific, the weather conditions remain go. Just a few clouds.
But I get a lot of exercise by walking, yeah.
10 knots. Wave heights just about 4 feet. A gentle day in the Pacific.
43,000, it depends. Okay. As far as historians go, historians have a special definition of town. Town is where it's a locus point for agriculture. So if your place is a locus point for agriculture, then it's a town. If it's a locus point for manufacture and, you know, it's a port or something like that, it's big commerce, then it's a city. So is your place the center of agriculture, or is it a commerce and a port city? That's sort of the functional definition. We don't go by just population.
Houston copies.
And we're in step 37, transferring now.
Hour from the coast, and do you have a lot of industry? Like, are we talking about Flint, Michigan kind of thing? Or are we talking about you've got a lot of farmers markets and a lot of fresh produce and you've got farms all around? Where I am, there's definitely a town. We've got the farmers markets, we've got all the fresh produce. Doesn't have much industry. Right next to New York. Well, I don't know how agricultural it is either. What do you do in New Jersey? I guess that's the question. What are you doing in New Jersey even? J&J? Well, J&J is a pretty big deal. Like, our quote-unquote industry is still agricultural industry here.
We will hit the first traces of Earth's atmosphere.
If you have Johnson & Johnson as a major employer, that's probably a city.
At that point will be 1,701 nautical miles.
Chemical plant 7 minutes from your house definitely smacks of being a city, yeah.
And once again,
or a suburb, if you will. It depends.
Seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization, due to heating effects. And Flight Dynamics has just confirmed we will have a blackout period of exactly 6 minutes in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that
I'm trying to head straight to Santa Cruz.
Will prevent communications and data.
But
will not be able to talk.
I don't really want to climb, but we might have to. There's some lower mountains over there. Maybe I should follow this road here.
Looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
They are re-entering, yes.
Houston concurs.
That blackout period to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration.
Well, there's plenty of this in California too.
We're 4 minutes away from entry interface.
We have national parks even. Actually, we're approaching Redwood territory. There is a Redwood National Park around here, north of Santa Cruz. I'll talk less and we'll just listen in, even though it's a blackout period and everything.
This view from Integrity as it crosses from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface. .5 minutes till splashdown. The USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station.
I'm getting thrown around by the winds around here.
Imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute deployment. All of Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15.5 minutes from now. All of the activities today have gone off in perfect fashion. No issues with the vehicle, no issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go. Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface. 1 minute until entry interface. 1 minute, 20 seconds until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
Ten seconds till entry interface. And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down, 13 minutes, 10 seconds. And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout. This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew. We're 30 seconds away from the anticipated point of peak heating on the vehicle, where temperatures will rise to about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory. And from the G5 aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of integrity. So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st. Four and a half minutes until the end of the blackout period. Time to splash down, 11 minutes, 33 seconds. The landing and support officer reports that the P3 has acquisition on Integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of the plasma buildup around the spacecraft.
Skip the visualization.
Repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat.
They need Kerbal Space Program. They need Kerbal Space Program with Firefly. We've got better simulators than NASA. Are they doing their best? Wouldn't their best be just getting Kerbal Space Program animation or something? They could probably pay for it or something.
Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period.
Could you imagine if NASA decided to buy Kerbal Space Program and continue development of it? Just so that they could get decent animations on their webcasts.
Multiple airborne assets as part of the recovery team all have visuals on integrity. And the WB-57 flying in the splashdown zone also has a visual.
A Canberra. It's spotted by a Canberra.
And the Navy helos also have visuals. We're still in the blackout period. Still do not have communications from the crew. We're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of a blackout period less than a minute from now.
The city up ahead is Santa Cruz.
We are now processing data from integrity.
We have telemetry.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
They said they were getting data from the Artemis II. Well, that's what I understood from it. I don't know if I'm correct.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
Okay, everybody can breathe now.
Guys, looks good.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished.
You can see the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk there.
For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home. Passing 100,000 feet now.
Don't know who's flying over there.
Range to splash down.
This Monterey Bay.
Nautical miles.
Heat shield definitely seemed to work, yeah. And we are headed to Monterey. It better have worked, yeah.
Integrity, impact to the camera controller fail is no Cav 1 views of the chute.
Integrity.
Processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of integrity. Time to splashdown 4.5 minutes. And a view of integrity from the WB-57. We're at 50,000 feet.
Well, there's basically just one thing we have to worry about now. I'm not going to talk about it.
The pyros are armed for forward bay cover jettison. And there go the first series of parachutes, and we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
2 good drogue shoots. Next up,
We copy, we see them.
next up, the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
That's a heck of a shot.
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Right on 2 drogues.
We see the same on board.
Passing through 10,000 feet, still on drogues.
And
Main chute deployed. We're at 5,000 feet. Search and recovery beacon has been activated on integrity. And we have 3 good main chutes.
okay.
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes. Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
I don't know, they look fine to
This is
me.
a perfect descent.
I'm not a
Integrity.
parachute specialist
Its
though.
crew sounding hail
I
and
just
hearty
like
on
them
board.
to pop out. They seem to have popped out.
Time to splash down 1 minute 15 seconds. Integrity about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon. Passing through 1,000 feet.
splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed.
They are back.
7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. From the pages of Jules Verne to a modern-day mission to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth. And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
Well, now they have to get them out of there, and that's going to take a bit.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time.
It was pretty beautiful, yep. Except for the toilet.
The end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days. 1 hour, 31
I guess if you're going to have a problem, the most accessible problem for everyone is having a problem with the toilet, right?
And we're configuring for a very low data rate.
The cameras, there was some problems with the cameras as well. The fact that we didn't get the views that we would like. But yeah, Outlook, well, I mean, Outlook, you're just asking for it, right? Why does anybody use Outlook anyway?
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR, or how else?
But basically, they had all the most accessible problems. You know, a problem with pressurization in the service module would be very hard to explain. But having a problem with the toilet and Microsoft Outlook, everybody understands. So they were perfect problems. No, they just had Outlook on their personal devices, that's all. It wasn't mission critical.
Complexion, that is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Oh? Oh, yeah, the Outlook thing. Well, there's the city of Monterey.
We continue to monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. The airbags are being inflated to maintain a stable 1 or upright configuration. And there's a good view from one of the naval helicopters hovering overhead. Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Don't know where exactly the Monterey Bay Aquarium is, but it's around somewhere.
Integrity Houston for SAR beacon and radio.
SAR beacon is in 406, and we're powering the radio now. Go ahead.
We see the beacon on. However, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAW radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Okay, copy, and we are also powering up the sat phone now.
So Integrity is in great shape, and as the crew continues its post-splashdown timelined activities on board, Reed Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape, and we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration so that the recovery team can now begin a slow approach to the vehicle. Meanwhile, here in the
all right, good night, Pekka. Yes, you stayed up long enough for this. You have seen the result of the mission, and have a good evening.
After a thorough systems check, we have no toxic gases to be concerned about, so the recovery personnel can approach the vehicle, but not until we have powered down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes. Integrity back on Earth, following its historic flyby of the moon. It was, for all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 28 per hour main on this frequency.
We copy.
Reed Wiseman indicating some trouble with the SARSAT phone on board. But that's not an issue. What is more important is that the vehicle is solid. No issues as we begin the power down of the vehicle to begin the recovery process. The propulsion officer here in Mission Control reports that we have safed the prop system on Integrity.
Can you say again? That was very weak and broken.
Integrity, Houston did not call.
Copy that, Houston.
But then, who did? Suddenly make contact with aliens. No,
All of the milestones were executed in perfect fashion. Integrity entering the Earth's atmosphere right on time, reaching its peak speed shortly after a blackout period began. We emerged from the blackout period, but the recovery imagery airborne assets were able to pick up Integrity's descent almost immediately through entry interface, tracking the vehicle all the way down. And finally, you saw the sequence of chute deployments. First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle by a series of 3 parachutes. Then the drogue chutes were deployed, followed by the 3 main chutes that slowed the splashdown velocity of Integrity to just 19 miles an hour.
Schizophrenic? I don't think that's what schizophrenic is, but maybe. schizophrenia is a little bit more complicated than that.
Integrity, Houston, with no joy on SAR and SAT phone, we'd like you to command an additional 15 minutes for a total of 30-minute power down delay.
Well, here are these type of houses. They probably do have to go a ways before getting groceries.
All right, Jackie, we just selected.
But they're probably also rich, so they don't mind.
+30, no joy on SAR radio or SAT phone.
Well, it depends on why you're hearing
And
voices.
stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Hey Lily, excuse me. Hey Jackie, we just got the master diver on the SAR.
They have servants for that, yeah. These days, they probably just have it all delivered anyway.
A good view of one of the fast boats.
Integrity, Houston, if you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Had to put a little bridge there.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft.
The road here is Highway 1, one of the most famous drives you can have,
broken capability in establishing a SAR
since this goes all the way along the California coast.
Capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly. There's plenty of cooling on board Integrity, so there's no rush to begin the power down.
Call you on the SAT phone and not getting an answer there either.
Concur, we haven't had anything come through.
And Houston, if you could relay to recovery that we hear them, but it does not appear as though they are hearing us.
Are you sure your switches are all in the right position? Transmit and receive?
Houston copies, and Reed, just to confirm, you are pushing the PTT on the radio.
Okay, they went even simpler than I thought.
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation of power down procedures that, as you see, the recovery teams are moving towards the side of the capsule. The next major event will be the erection of that large inflatable raft called the front porch. That will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
Integrity, Houston, for SAT phone, we are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you are touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's affirmative.
Trying a backdoor approach to have mission control here call the crew on their satellite phone. This is all part of the coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board are standing by, waiting to close in on Integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft that's called the front porch that will be where the astronauts are extracted from.
Who decided the raft would be called the front porch instead of some weird technical term?
Before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Shouldn't they come up with an overly technical term for everything?
And Houston, please don't reply. NRD, very weak, but readable. Master diver, we can hear, but they cannot hear us.
That's some rain right there. It's a complex acronym? Seriously? No, no, it's not. Look at that. Look at that rain right there. I'd almost believe that, though.
And Houston on OE1, is there any chance to tie us into NRD?
Checking.
This is Mission Control, Houston. While we stand by for the establishment of communications between Integrity and the recovery team that is basically standing by very close to the spacecraft, we're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
Hey Rob, yeah, just such an honor to be able to be here on the ship, to be able to share and experience this moment with everyone together. And of course, as you just said, yes, here with NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. Administrator, how did you feel getting to witness this and seeing NASA at its best?
Oh, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, you know, like the childhood Jared right now can't believe what I just saw. I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then as NASA Administrator, I just couldn't be more proud of the entire workforce, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at the behind us here.
Got everybody. Hey, what do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors that are here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft, to Integrity, get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
Yeah, and this is not just an accomplishment for NASA. This is an accomplishment for humanity. Again, a historic mission to the moon and back. How does this make you feel, and what do you hope people take away from this?
Well, I'll tell you, I think about the crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely professional astronauts. I mean, wonderful communicators, almost poets. But then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now. And I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis II crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So, yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded somebody colorful like Pete Conrad.
Sometimes around here, it's like, this was a once in a lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions.
Just to spice things up.
We land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
Yeah, are we going to build on the momentum for Artemis III? I mean, it's just around the corner.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's, part of me too. Like, I can't wait to get the crew off of integrity right now, but also getting integrity back on this ship so we can start taking a look at it, because all that data is so precious to us right now. I mean, we are going to definitely want to take a good look at the thermal protection system. We're going to want to download all the data they couldn't transmit back to us and use that to inform Artemis 3. But we're already making progress, right? You had SRB segments already showing up at KSC course.
Well, he's cool, but
April 20th. We're getting 39.
He hasn't gotten NASA the support of the administration as far as money is concerned. So, and now he's going to have to defend those cuts that the administration wants to do. In front of Congress, he's going to have to say that NASA should get cuts because he hasn't been able to convince the administration to give him more money. So, yeah, it seems cool, but that's not the job, really. The job is to get NASA money. Well, he has one job. His one job is to get money. I don't care about anything else. You could have the stodgiest, most boring administrator ever, as long as he gets NASA money. I don't care about the rest. A cool person who pretty much impossible. Yeah, great. Well, there are other people getting money out of Donald Trump. There are plenty of other people getting money out of Donald Trump. Why can't NASA get money out of Donald Trump? Because, Donald Trump has announced deals with this company and that company. Of course, he's attacked this company and that company too. He's giving money to defense.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Administrator Isaacman. We are in the process of working,
obviously giving money to certain other agencies. Why hasn't the administrator convinced him that giving money to NASA will be good for the glory of Trump? Why couldn't he do that?
5:07 p.m. Pacific time, 2.5 hours before sunset in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego. We have once again.
It's not really kept the highway level around here.
With the administrator, and we have 4 healthy crew members on board. We now have confirmation that the vehicle has been powered down as per the procedures. So we have vehicle powered down, and the flight control team here in Houston, Flight Director Rick Henfling, has handed over mission authority.
Well, he's pretty
ground systems team out of the Pacific. Now,
pretty consistent on some things.
Not get off console with this team until the crew has been extracted into the front porch, that inflatable raft that will be erected along the side hatch.
He definitely still wants to take over Greenland.
In the next step in the recovery procedures.
I can tell you that right now.
And we have 4 healthy crew members on board the vehicle.
he does get obsessed about very certain things.
No issues, perfect trajectory for integrity that was culminated with one final raise burn to improve the angle of attack.
He's been obsessed on Iran for a long time.
All of that flight dynamics computation,
like since the 80s.
Worked like a charm. So we are standing by for the recovery team to approach integrity and begin the process of erecting that inflatable raft called the front porch, which will see the crew members be extracted from the hatch of Orion into that inflatable raft before they're hoisted aboard 2 Navy helicopters in a variety of different configurations. Each crew member will be hoisted in sequential fashion, in alternating fashion, 2 crew members for each helicopter before they turn around to head back to the John P. Murtha. Once on the deck of the ship, they'll be brought into medical bay for comprehensive medical exams. But Reed Wiseman has reported several times that the crew is in excellent shape. So just to recap, it has been some 26 and a half minutes since the
well, then we don't really need him as administrator. We need somebody crazy. We don't need the cool person.
All of the vehicle functions were checked off in excellent.
He's too freaking normal to deal with this situation.
The parachutes all deployed as planned. Splashdown occurring at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. And after a bit of a tussle to try to establish a communications link with the recovery.
But the practical day-to-day stuff that happens at NASA is done by the associate administrators, the people underneath Isaacman. They handle all the day-to-day stuff in the various areas that they are in charge of. Isaacman's job is interfacing with the administration and the politicians and reporting to Congress and stuff like that.
Bring the crew members onto that raft before they're hoisted onto 2 Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter before they're flown back.
So hopefully he doesn't do too good a job convincing them that the cuts are good. Little ships, the pod and the plane there. Oh, sorry, helicopter, of course. It's a bit choppy there because of the chopper. Should be approaching Hearst Castle here. Well, hopefully, yeah. But honestly, I don't know how interested he is in the scientific missions that they're cutting. He's been very supportive of the human missions, the crewed missions, but I don't know how interested he actually is in the scientific missions.
This is Mission Control Houston. After talking to the flight dynamics folks, we have a bit of a refinement on the splashdown time for you. Their computation shows a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds. Once again, from Flight Dynamics, a splashdown time of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days.
Oh yeah, well, you can't do it publicly. I mean, well, he's basically not allowed to do it publicly. Mission to Uranus, huh?
Reports from the Pacific indicate.
Well, we all have goals.
That the recovery team in communications with the crew aboard Integrity, that the crew remains in excellent shape as they await the approach of the team for a final hazard gas evaluation before they move to the side of the vehicle to erect the inflatable life raft called the front porch.
The hazardous gas obviously being the RCS propellant.
Again, no issues.
Will we be able to see Hearst Castle?
All of its systems are now safed. We have handed over mission authority to the Exploration Ground Systems folks in the Pacific, but we will not stand down and have the entry flight control team depart its positions until that inflatable raft, the front porch, is erected, the hatch open.
I think I see it over there.
Exited the vehicle, so that's the next step in the recovery process that will lead to the hoisting of the crew members. For 2 crew members for each helicopter, they'll be hoisted to a pair of Navy helicopters that will then fly a short distance back to the USS John P. Murtha.
Okay, oh, there it is.
What you're looking at is one of the fast boats circling the vehicle to make a hazard assessment.
Okay. I don't know about the trees there. Those trees are a bit suspicious, but Hearst Castle. Guess maybe they do have tall palm trees or something. Uranus orbiter and probe was selected as the highest priority mission to develop. Yeah, by the Cadal, or you know, the astro peoples, the scientists.
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're watching the initiation of the recovery of the Artemis crew aboard Integrity.
Well, we can always hope they actually
Navy divers and the fast
go with that.
Are now approaching the spacecraft after conducting a hazard assessment. The vehicle has been powered down. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling now waiting for the life raft, the front porch, to be erected along the side of the vehicle so that the hatch can be opened and the crew members extracted from Integrity, soon to be hoisted
Oh, you wouldn't want that.
Pair of Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. If you missed it earlier, we talked to Flight Dynamics and received a more official touchdown time, or splashdown time as it were, of 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Pacific Time. That would equate to a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 15 seconds.
I'm probably gonna land at San Luis Obispo. So that's 30 nautical miles. Hopefully they will have gotten the crew out by then. Very quiet on the mission audio.
Continuing to get excellent views from the imagery assets out at sea in the Pacific of Integrity. We continue to get good reports from the landing and support officer, who's in contact with the recovery team, that the crew is in excellent shape, no issues. They're just currently
GM Studios approves.
waiting for the front porch to be erected. We have no hazardous We have no hazard gases and no hazardous situation with the vehicle. It performed perfectly all the way down.
Hello, Jakovsky.
Entry interface to its splashdown.
Yes, I am glad things went well too.
27 seconds p.m. Central Time.
We're waiting for them to get the crew out.
Phalanx of recovery personnel now pulling up alongside of Integrity. This includes Navy divers, a Navy flight surgeon, and other recovery personnel who have trained for several years for this recovery process.
I was trying to fly down to San Diego, but we won't make it in time. I picked too slow a plane. So just got to San Luis Obispo. I think I'll land there.
At this hour, some 41 minutes following splashdown.
Maybe Santa Maria or Vandenberg.
There's no hazardous gas.
Depends when they pop out.
That's why the first team of recovery personnel has been able to pull alongside Integrity, and the reports continue to come in that the 4 astronauts are in excellent shape.
Vandenberg's about 20 minutes away.
Yes.
Well, they checked for the hydrazine. They said there was no hazard. They didn't detect any free hydrazine around. Now, they could use gas masks anyway, but they had been talking about the hazardous gases, and they say they haven't seen any, so. But I don't know what the rules they go by are. That rock there is called Morrow Rock. And this bay is Morrow Bay. M-O-R-R-O. Sort of a nice bay. I mean, you've got that little inlet and you've got a very definite bay there.
This is Mission Control Houston, continuing to watch the initiation of the recovery of Integrity's astronauts. One by one, they'll be brought out of the spacecraft onto a large inflatable raft just a short time from now. In the meantime, we can go back to the USS John P. Murtha, where my colleague Megan Cruz is standing by to provide her situation report. Megan, can you hear us?
Hey Rob, yes I can hear you. Thank you. Yeah, we're back here on the bow of the recovery ship where there are still plenty of people peering out into the water. We are not very far from the action everyone is seeing on their screen now. The Orion spacecraft, Integrity, in the ocean, surrounded by a number of recovery boats. As Rob has been saying, in those recovery boats, NASA and Navy personnel specifically trained to get the astronauts out of Orion. Some of our wide shots, you can probably see that there are 6 boats out in the water.
Well, I guess we'll go to Vandenberg to give them some time.
More than 40 people out in the water right now on those boats.
Maybe a little bit more. Cute little place. Those tiles sure are shiny.
First order of business is to set up the front porch and the stabilization collar. You might also hear it referred to as a stab collar.
They're getting to the hatch.
Sure that Orion stays upright, doesn't sway in the water too much, again, to make it easier for recovery forces to get the astronauts out. Again, we splashed down in the Pacific Ocean just after 5 p.m. Pacific time here. It's a requirement by NASA to be able to get the crew out of Orion within 2 hours of splashdown. So doing great on time so far. Plenty of time. No rush either. You know, I was speaking to NASA flight surgeon Rick Schuring earlier in this broadcast, and he said to me, you know, no rush to get the crew out.
No rush to get the crew out.
Feeling good, and whenever they're ready to take their step out of Orion and onto that large raft, the front porch, folks will be ready.
I don't know, if it was me, I'd be like, get me out of here.
Mission audio loops in Mission Control in Houston. There is a mission audio loop here on the ship, and it was just reported out that the side hatch is open. Side hatch of integrity is open. You're getting these beautiful shots from our aerial assets. The ship itself, where I'm on, just 3,000 yards away.
3,000 yards, so 2 miles.
Glued to the side, closest to where they can see all this action, and again, with just 3,000 yards separating us, great views from the bow here. You can see now that side hatch is open. One of the Navy personnel is about to get inside there.
Oh, this Canyon. Oh, yeah, this is Diablo Canyon power plant. Yeah. So there's. Is it the only nuclear power plant in California? I forget how many we have, but that is a nuclear power plant. Not really properly rendered right now.
Recovery personnel.
Thought that was what it was. What a name for it, though, right? Diablo Canyon. I mean, it's the earthquake problem, though, you know. We've got built-in hazard to deal with. Of course, Japan does too, but, you know, they had a bit of a problem with that.
Again, that one that's right up against Orion, those are the divers that will go in to the spacecraft to check on each of the astronauts. These other boats will begin doing a number of things, putting on that stabilization collar onto Orion, building that front porch. Eventually they will retrieve the parachutes, as well as tow Orion back to the well deck of the recovery ship here.
We're not flying over San Luis Obispo. It'd be over to the left there. We're headed to Santa Maria and then Vandenberg.
The Navy and NASA personnel to get their assessment of the crew inside of Orion. Why don't we toss it back to Rob for an update?
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Rick Henfling and the entry team of flight controllers still on duty. The vehicle has been powered down for some time now. There are no hazardous gases emanating from Integrity. That, of course, allowed the recovery personnel to approach the vehicle and then open the hatch to begin the initial medical assessment of the crew, as you just indicated. Now we're standing by for the erection of that inflatable raft, the front porch, alongside of the vehicle that will enable the crew to be extracted one by one onto the raft, have a moment or two to get their land legs back before they're hoisted into two hovering Navy helicopters, 2 crew members for each helicopter, for a short flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
Getting their land legs back, bobbing up and down over the water.
Operated flawlessly throughout the course of the approach to the Earth, the entry into the Earth's atmosphere, and all of the key milestones that followed in this high-speed return to Earth for Integrity. A mission that spanned more than 694,000 miles from the vehicle's launch from the Kennedy Space Center atop the Space Launch System back on April 1st.
It's a little bit hard to say. I mean, I guess I'd have to say 2024 because all the new planes will be coming out for 2024, so they're not gonna keep making planes for flights in 2020.
December 19th, 1972. So for the first time in
and mostly things have been updated for flights in 2024 now.
That with the arrival of Integrity's astronauts as they flew around the moon.
But there were positive aspects to flights in 2020, that's for sure.
That began with a trans-lunar injection burn that took them out of Earth orbit following 24 hours of a high Earth orbit trajectory. The high Earth orbit trajectory enabled flight controllers here to have a full 24 hours to evaluate the systems on Integrity and the condition of the crew.
It's already 2026. I don't think they're gonna come out with a new one for a while. I don't think it's gonna be like 2028 or something, but I could be wrong. But I think they sort of messed up on flights in 2024 initially, so that might make them a little bit more cautious about trying for the next one. Well, I'm not gonna fly over Santa Maria. I'm gonna turn towards Vandenberg now. I mean, it's hard. I still have Flight Sim 2020 installed. Oh, well, yeah. I'm on the Pacific Coast, so I'm in good shape. Good night, Monk Gaming. But I'll be landing soon. Yeah, Poland is very different from our time zones, so yeah. Sometimes the launches might work out for you.
With the side hatch of Orion having been opened to set the stage for the erection of the inflatable life raft known as the front porch to be erected alongside the spacecraft for the extraction of the crew. Let's play for you an interview that my colleague Megan Cruz conducted on the USS John P. Murtha with Navy diver First Class David McMahon that explains how this process is unfolding.
Okay, Davey, so you and some of your team, one last look over of the stabilization collar, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so what is this stabilization collar?
This is what's going to stabilize the capsule out there in the ocean. We don't know how good the weather or the waves will be that day, so this will help prevent any unnecessary occurrences from happening, stabilizing the capsule and the astronauts inside.
So basically this is a float that will go around Orion. I'm assuming that what they're doing right now, these are the lines that will attach the collar onto Orion?
That is correct.
And so what are they doing here?
So we've got the lower line that will secure the inflation device before we inflate it.
4 a.m. there.
That gives us the go-ahead that it's secure in its space, and then we'll inflate it, and then once that is done, we'll undo all the carabiners and get this orange line on top tied in the same fashion. And then this will be secured.
Somehow I don't get Americans watching with me.
Okay, and how long will it take them to set up?
How does this work? I don't know.
Okay, wow. And then you just mentioned the
I guess they're all watching whatever big channels there are. Anywhere, there's Vandenberg Air Force Base now.
Front porch is basically a bigger waiting room for the astronauts to sit in while we wait for the helicopters to show up and grab them.
Okay, so the medical team that was inside with the crew, they're going to help them out and onto the front porch?
That is correct.
And then what happens here?
We have higher trained medical personnel also on board the front porch that will give them lookovers and just make sure they're okay while we wait for the helicopters to show up.
Okay. How does it feel, I mean, your team, you, to be part of a
It
mission
is
that's returning
important.
astronauts from the moon in more than 50 years?
We all feel extremely honored to be a part of this, as well as a bigger mission for the Navy and joining up with NASA to do great things.
And do you feel like your team are ready?
Yes, very ready.
Cool. All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Once again, the recovery operations are continuing out in the Pacific. We shortly should see that life raft, the front porch, erected alongside the side hatch of the vehicle.
Oh. Heard some applause for some reason.
to the flight control room to receive congratulations from
that's why.
Flight Director Rick Henfling. But we're going to stick with our operations out of the Pacific as we await the extraction of the 4 crew members who are reported to be in excellent condition. Again, while we stand by for that front porch to be erected alongside of the side hatch of the vehicle, let's go back to the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan?
Hey, Rob. Pausing now to listen to some internal audio loops. Again, the operations team here on the ship communicating with everyone out on the water. It seems like currents are hindering them a little bit from unfurling and inflating the stabilization collar as well as the front porch.
Well, this is the runway at Vandenberg that I'll eventually land at.
Requirement to get the crew out.
Nearly 15,000 feet, or 3 miles long, or whatever that is in other units. Sorry, I only have it in feet.
Like it's hindering the teams just a tad.
So the shuttle could have landed here.
You can see in some of our shots that side hatch still open. Again, inside there are now 8 people inside. 4 divers, Navy divers.
For me, no. But this is flight sim. I don't have to worry about that. For other people, sure.
That they're comfortable, feeling good.
It's still a functioning base.
As you've heard us say in the broadcast, they expect a little bit of discomfort. Again, these astronauts just traveled back to Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, a nearly 695,000 mile journey around the moon. If you think you get carsick. Again, 6 boats out there, lots of gear with them, just in case, right? As we said, the crew reported feeling great. But again, all those folks out there in case they weren't, right? NASA is all about...
I don't know how exactly they'd get the shuttle from landing there back to the launch pad if they wanted to launch it from here again. That would be quite a long trip. I guess along this roadway.
You see now teams again trying to set up...
Back when the shuttle might have launched from Vandenberg.
...front porch for the crew to get out of Orion. They need both, right? The stabilization collar will keep Orion from swaying as you see it is doing now. And then they will connect to the front porch to the stabilization collar so that the crew can take 2 steps and they will be in the front porch. Now chatter on the mission audio loops, that's a good thing. Again, things proceeding pretty nominally.
Maybe it would be safer for me not to land at Vandenberg. We can go to Santa Barbara since they're taking a while. But the launch center at Vandenberg is up ahead here.
And the front porch, so that the crew can rest comfortably in the front porch, get placed into harnesses, so that 2 helicopters can lift them off the front porch and onto the USS John Mercer. The helicopters are going to take turns picking up an astronaut. So again, Helo 1 and Helo 2. Okay, and the recovery team here on the ship just got a report from the undersea medical officer who is inside the capsule with the crew. He is reporting all 4 members are green. All of our 4 astronauts, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, green, meaning they're feeling great, not the complexion of their skin.
Hey, they could be Kerbals now.
And ready to be extracted.
Well, this is the launch center. We have to make a turn.
And so, as I was saying, we have 2 helicopters circling the activity you're seeing on the water right now.
You can see why they put the launch center here.
So Helo 1 will come on in, hover above the front porch, about 40 feet above the front porch. A Navy recovery specialist will be hoisted down into the front porch.
That they didn't do skip entry? I thought they did do a skip re-entry. But I'll have to check that.
Picks up Jeremy while Helo 1 stays above head. And then Helo 1 will come back in for another astronaut.
It's possible because on Artemis 1 they did a skip entry and took longer. And maybe they wanted to avoid that, but I'd have to check. And that would take changing the window that currently has the video.
Artemis Recovery Director Paul Sierpinski. He said helos are a much quicker, safer way to get on board. They did actually consider boats, but then if you think about it, longer time, the crew would have to move through more of the ship. This way the helos will give a more direct, quicker route to the medical bay for our 4 astronauts. Beautiful shots from our aerial and imagery teams. Clouds have dissipated for a clear view from the bow of the recovery ship here.
We didn't really get trajectory information during re-entry, so I couldn't see the altitude reading or anything like that. Otherwise I would already know.
You can still see divers in the water there. Encircling Orion, that is that stabilization collar we've been telling you about. As you saw in that interview just a few minutes ago, they have to first connect it to Orion, and then once it's secured onto Orion, they can inflate it, and then they'll further secure it with other harnesses in line. About an hour and 10 minutes since splashdown in the Pacific Ocean here. Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy back home after a history-making mission to the moon and back. If you missed what we said just a couple of minutes ago, the undersea medical officer inside with the crew in Orion, reporting all 4 crew members feeling great. Progress being made there on the stabilization collar. It looks like they are beginning to inflate it. And it looks like they're starting to unfold the front porch in order to get that into the water here shortly and inflate that as well. Again, more than 40 people out in the water right now. And those Navy and NASA personnel have been in the water for now about 4 hours.
Four hours.
The reason why they had to get out so early is just to stage everything. And actually here on the ship, when there are flight operations happening, you can't have anything else, right? Just because the flight deck can be a dangerous place, so they just want to focus on planes coming and going from the ship, so that's why they wanted to get the boats in the water to make sure that they have all the time they needed for the flight ops. And then the same crew here out on the water, they will stay out in the water for a number of hours after we recover the crew and get them back on the ship, because then they have to recover Orion. All right, that stabilization collar looking good around Orion. We're now seeing some recovery personnel getting on to that collar. Again, they need to further attach it to Orion to make sure that it can really prop up the spacecraft. It's basically lifting it up off of the water just a tad. Again, so it's not so
bouncy. Not so bouncy.
so it doesn't sway so much in the water there. And now that front porch looks like it's nearly fully inflated as well. You can see a much larger surface area. And so once the crew get out of Orion, they can stretch their legs a little bit on this front porch, get some fresh air. And enjoy this beautiful day here on their home planet. It appears teams now are about to connect the front porch to the stabilization collar. And at that point, when both are secure, we should soon see astronauts come out of Orion. all these views you see also being fed to the Landing Force Operations Center here on the ship. Of course, that is very important for our recovery teams leading the mission to have all the views that you're seeing as well. Again, listening to their communication loop here on the ship. Very quiet, which is a good thing. It means things are going pretty nominally, meaning as expected. Again, all this activity happening just 3,000 yards away from the ship. So that means this will be a very quick flight back on the helicopters for the crew. 2-3 minutes, and then we'll be back here on the ship.
Well, I'm coming in for a landing. Hopefully they'll pop out.
From one of the personnel on the front porch, it looks like they are now getting ready to deploy what they call the Air Rescue Vest, ARV. And so this is the harness that each crew member will get into in order to be hoisted into the helicopters. Again, those helicopters hovering just about 40 feet above the front porch when they're ready to pick up each crew member.
This is Mission Control Houston. Behind me, a fairly raucous scene as hundreds of flight controllers have poured into the flight control room here.
Hundreds?
Of the scene after the final shuttle mission.
Gosh, how many flight controllers do they have?
Although that was the end of a program, this is only the beginning of a program with the textbook splashdown of Integrity and its 4 astronauts. We're standing by for the crew to be extracted from the spacecraft. Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling invited all of these flight controllers who have contributed to this mission to enter the flight control room to have an opportunity to receive well wishes and to share the mutual glow that exists in the wake of a textbook mission for Integrity. On the front screen here in Mission Control, a sign that says "Welcome Home Integrity," taking humanity back to the moon, going further, and returning safely to Earth. So all of that jubilation, part of the post-splashdown activities, even as we await the crew being extracted from the vehicle to be hoisted onto Navy helicopters for the trip back to the USS John P. Murtha. Once again here in Mission Control, this view of the Artemis Flight Control Room, known as the White Flight Control Room. This is the old shuttle flight control room, and now is the home of Artemis missions to the moon and beyond. Once again, quite a few flight controllers were invited in by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to share in the jubilation following the successful splashdown of Integrity. That splashdown occurring an hour and 22 minutes ago, as we stand by for the completion of the extraction of the crew, and ultimately they're hoisting onto Navy helicopters for a short flight back to the USS John P. Murtha. Splashdown occurred at 7:07 and 27 seconds p.m. Central Time. I had an opportunity to talk to the head of Flight Dynamics, Jeff Birch, a moment or two ago. He said the trajectory of Integrity coming through the Earth's atmosphere was so precise, they've never seen anything line up on a ground track like today's entry by Integrity for its splashdown southwest of San Diego. And the initial, you can hear it.
Now they're gonna pop out when I have to focus on landing? Great.
Jubilation here in the flight control room. The first crew member is out of Integrity. We are expecting the other crew members momentarily to be extracted. We now have 2 crew members out. Two crew members out, 2 to go. We're about 1 hour from
maybe I
sunset
shouldn't try
out of the
that.
Pacific.
Okay.
Everything continues to go well. Integrity's systems functioned perfectly during its entry back to Earth.
Star in Canada?
And Reed Wiseman, the
A
commander,
maple leaf in Canada. Yes, one would hope.
That all the crew members were feeling very well.
Well, anyway, I reached Santa Barbara. Maybe I'll continue this flight further, but let's focus on them. There we go.
And now standing by for the commander, Reed Wiseman, who will be last out of his ship. Bobbing in the Pacific under almost ideal conditions, Integrity spanned 694,000 miles during its journey from launch to splashdown. And we now have Reed Wiseman out of the vehicle. All 4 crew members now out of integrity. Once again, all 4 crew members now on the front porch, and the procedure to begin hoisting them up to these 2 Navy helicopters hovering overhead will begin shortly.
Well, that's that. Got fresh air after 10 days in the... I don't know how... initially they said that the ship was too cold, so maybe it wasn't that warm. It probably got warm eventually, but... Yep, not sure exactly what the temperature was in there. Yeah, so now they're used to the cold. So I mean, it's definitely cold out in the Pacific. It seems like my left magneto is shot, Houston. By the way.
The mission is over, but the melody lingers on as jubilation continues here in the flight control room. We should be expecting NASA's Associate Administrator, Amit Kshatriya, to be joining us shortly for a short interview while the recovery operations continue out in the Pacific. So we'll stand by for that. And then we'll turn it back over to Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha.
Oh, and it seems somehow the flaps on my Comanche are jammed. I don't know how I jammed my flaps, but they need to be fixed. Just reporting that I had more problems than Artemis II did. My little Comanche has more problems than Artemis II. Oh, that's a weird visual effect. Getting some suspicious artifacting around here in the game. But anyway, they're out. I think I should wrap it up, especially since here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm getting something here. You can see that. Something weird is going on there. Not over here. No. But over here, yes. So I better stop. My computer is doing weird things. The Kraken has found a new form here. Alright, so they're out of the spacecraft. They're back. And all is well.
This is Mission Control Houston here in the Artemis Flight Control Room. A number of flight controllers basking in the glory of the successful end of this mission that carried 4 astronauts around the moon on a lunar flyby, and the first test flight of Orion with crew members on board. Splashdown occurring an hour and 32 minutes ago after a flawless descent back into the Earth's atmosphere for the vehicle. Its 4 crew members in good shape, simply enjoying their time right now on the front porch, as it were, the inflatable raft alongside of their Integrity spacecraft.
Okay, but I'll wrap it up.
Ahmed Shatria, the NASA Associate Administrator, to join us here.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. All right, so
before we turn it back over,
I'll leave you guys to watch the NASA feed on your own. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.